A little over a year ago, I identified problem areas in the park's infrastructure that was prone to failure. I created YouTube videos of these areas and published them for all lot owners to see in an attempt to show why a dues increase was warranted. Here it is a year later, and I feel that it's necessary to revisit those videos and some of those problem areas, along with some other areas that may need to be addressed. We've had professionals come in and give us advice, bids, and estimates. We can now see exactly how important some of these issues were and why having the money to fix them is imperative. First, we'll take a look at the water system, which consists of the well, filtration, and pressure system. Looking at my YouTube videos from last year, we took a look at the lifespan of components in our water system. Generally, the pump motors tend to have gone out every 7 to 8 years, and ours was going on 8 years old. The pumps tended to fail between 7 and 15 years, and our pump was 16 years old. And the pipes in the well have tended to need replacement around every 7 to 8 years, and we were going on around 8 years since the last replacement. Pressure tanks also seem to fail around 6 to 7 years. In December, we had a well failure. Basically, the bottom 100 feet of the pipes in our well were very corroded and flaking, and that left holes and gaps which led to the malfunction of our well. We opted to replace the pipes, pump, and the pump motor since each of these was reaching its life expectancy, and due to the high cost of extraction to replace each of them. Hopefully this will maximize the longevity of each. We also upgraded to a 15 horsepower motor, increasing the gallons per minute, meaning that water is more readily available for the park. During this replacement, there were also cracks in the pipe between the well and the caretaker's house that needed replacement. We also added a hardwired baseboard heater in the well doghouse for the winter months. And we replaced the chlorine injection pump in the water system that quit working. These costs were an additional $2,000. Then earlier this spring, 2 of our pressure tanks went out and had to be replaced. As you can see in the picture, our pressure tanks sit on the concrete floor of the caretaker's basement where there's moisture and water leaks. This is what causes the bottom of the pressure tanks to rust out and fail. We were advised to reroute our water system and raise these pressure tanks off the floor to prevent this. Since one of the tanks was under warranty, the cost to replace them was $2,170. Some recommended improvements to our water system would be to raise those pressure tanks. Also, adding shutoff valves around the park would help us isolate water breaks. That way we don't have to turn the water off to the entire park to fix a leak. It was also recommended that we add flush hydrants around the park in order to flush our water system from time to time. Another one of my videos focused on the caretaker's basement, which houses our water system. There are numerous cracks in the foundation of the caretaker's basement. Every time it rains, water seeps in those cracks, and that is what poses part of the problem to parts of our water system, such as the pressure tanks. Here you can see pictures of after a hard rain, where different areas of the basement was flooded and water seeped through the cracks. We brought in experts for bids to repair the foundation and found that the repairs would cost $35,000 to $37,000 to fix it. Being that we didn't have that amount of money in the budget to make repairs, we decided to gather some volunteers and add some gutter downspouts and add drainage pipes surrounding the caretaker's house to hopefully help eliminate the water seepage into the basement. From what we can tell so far, this did help eliminate a large amount of the water leaks in the basement. Another concern that one of my videos focused on was the many problems with the electrical wiring in the caretaker's basement. There were numerous electrical issues and hazards in the basement, and we brought in Wishmeyer to take a look at the electric and see what needed to be done to fix it all. In fact, our quote from Wishmeyer stated that this area has so much wrong with it that an accurate estimate cannot be determined. It was determined that the cost of rewiring the caretaker's basement would be reduced if the insulation was removed prior to the electrical work. We tested the insulation to check for asbestos, and once the results came back negative, myself, Shane, Don, and Michelle spent numerous hours removing this insulation. It required wearing hazmat suits and masks due to the large amount of mice, feces, urine, and moldy insulation. Here are just a few pictures of the insulation that had to be removed. So all the electrical work in the basement has been completed, proper GFI outlets were added where required, a live 220 volt wire that was just freely hanging was eliminated, the wiring to the water system was rerouted more efficiently, and most of all hazards were eliminated. Final cost was just under $5,000. Next we'll visit the caretaker house bathroom, in which there have been leaks and water damage over time. Looking at these pictures, you can see some of the cause and the extent of the water damage to the bathroom in the caretaker's house. Some questioned the presence of mold in my previous videos. We tested for toxic mold and found none, but after the drywall was removed, more pictures were taken as can be seen here, which certainly appear to look like there was mold present at some point in time. Due to the difficulty in finding a contractor to make improvements to the bathroom, Don, Michelle, Dave Stuhlier spent many hours during the off-season remodeling one of the bathrooms. They plan to finish the second bathroom this coming off-season. Next we'll take a look at the pool. We brought in some pool companies to give us an idea of what to do to fix the pool. As stated in last year's videos, there are numerous cracks which allow the outside water to seep in the pool, making it difficult to keep the pool chemical levels balanced. We inquired about the possibility of using a fiberglass pool insert from Washington Pools and received quotes of $59,450 and $62,650 for different sized inserts. Then the gaps must be filled in between the insert and the pool walls, and a sump pump system must be installed in order to prevent the insert from floating. This option would be very expensive. We received a bid from Lehman LLC to repair the pool walls and fill with fiberglass, along with gel coating the panels of the pool a base white. This cost totaled $8,900. We received a bid from Summit Plastering to sandblast, remove excess hollow areas, fix cracks in the pool, acid wash, bond coat, and apply new plaster to the pool, and the cost was between $17,900 and $21,500 depending on the plaster type. We also contacted Shilly Plastering Company and received a bid for prepping, acid washing the surface, and applying 2 coats of plaster to the pool floor and steps. The bid was between $24,000 and $29,000. We did purchase a new pool cover to replace the old one with the multiple tears in it. Next we'll revisit the sewer plant. Patrick is in the process of removing the sludge in our sewer plant. He is concerned that our skimmers aren't functioning properly, and they will be evaluated once the sludge is removed. There is also still a concern of pipes that are rusting away, and we've had a few tests that our numbers are outside the proper range for DNR, although our most recent numbers were in range. We need to fix these problems soon so that we can avoid any further problems or failed tests with DNR that could eventually result in fines for our park. We also still need to fabricate and install a bar screen to help filter the large items entering our sewer plant, which has been a recommendation from DNR for our system for several years. Next we'll revisit the dock. The dock was removed from the lake and inspected, and it was determined that due to it sitting low in the water for an extensive period of time, as well as failure to keep it stained properly, it wasn't worth rebuilding and it was disassembled. Sadly, when there isn't funding or volunteers to properly maintain the infrastructure of the park, amenities will be removed and replacements may be difficult until proper funding is established. We researched replacement docks, and one DNR requirement regarding our dam permit states that our dock is located at an emergency spillway inlet, and its anchoring system is one that it can break away and avoid constricting the emergency spillway. An aluminum dock such as these only weigh around 50 pounds and could easily be removed during emergency. Cost is around $5,000 to $6,000. Another of my videos dealt with the upper dam seepage. We consulted Lewis Beatty for recommendations on the seepage between the upper dam and the large lake. Our concern was the breach in the dam and the upper lake eventually draining down into the lower lake. Lewis Beatty advised that the likelihood of failure was fairly low, and they suggested the installation of a French drain system. They also advised against excavation near the upper dam. Next we'll revisit the guardrails on the dam. They not only protect the lot owners from driving into the lake, but also protect them from driving into our sewer plant and causing catastrophic failure to the park's sewer system. We received a bid last year from Collins and Herman to fix the guardrails using our remaining guardrails. The bid totaled $36,470. We proposed a special assessment at last year's annual meeting to fix the guardrails, but that proposal failed. Without a lot of extra money in our budget, it's sometimes necessary to call on volunteers to help fix and maintain areas of the park. This cuts down on the costs of labor of hiring an outside source. Over the last 2 years, we've worked hard on many projects along with some great volunteers to attack various projects around the park. Many thanks goes out to all of those who have offered their time and effort into helping to improve the park and to saving us money that we desperately need. One project that many volunteers helped with was lily pad removal. They have been an ongoing problem in the Big Lake for years, and after a variety of efforts, we seem to have them under control now, as you can see in this video. The last several years, this area used to be filled with lily pads. Other recent volunteer efforts included roof repairs, pressure washing and staining the fence repairs to the pool area, drainage repairs, clubhouse bathroom repairs, bathhouse repairs, camera installations by the dumpsters. Volunteers also helped with tree trimming and ditch digging, as well as branch and pond cleanup. Thanks again goes out to all of those who help participate in these projects. We have identified some other areas of our park's infrastructure that should probably be addressed in the near future. Similar to the caretaker's basement, there's electric issues in some of the bathhouses that need to be cleaned up. We got a bid for $3,026 to do that. Many of the bathhouse shower drains are old and have cracks in them. It's time to replace these drain pans or seek another solution. In bathhouse 1 and 2, the vinyl flooring is starting to peel up. It's probably time to remove that and paint the floor like we did in the clubhouse. And also just a fresh coat of paint to the entire interior would be helpful. The clubhouse electric also still needs attention. We're waiting on a meter base. There are other outlets and wiring issues that should also be examined. The insurance flagged us for tape on breakers. Some of the wires are just hanging in there without ends on them, and some of the wires aren't stripped properly that go into the breakers. Our gate system still needs attention. The gate randomly gets stuck open. Kip and Don have replaced belts, trucks, and switches and have made various adjustments, but it's an older gate system and it may be time to bring in a professional to look at it. As far as roads are concerned, we added gravel to some of the roads this year and we exhausted our gravel budget for the year, but there are still roads that we would like to add gravel to throughout the park. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I know it was long, but the purpose is to show you why we need a steady amount of revenue generated in order to do the preventive maintenance on the infrastructure of our park. As you can see, we're willing to put in the time and effort to maintain and make repairs. We just need the funding to do so. There are costs involved with doing proper maintenance on something, like staining the dock, adding drainage around the caretaker's house, rerouting the pressure tanks in the basement, or hiring a professional to fix electrical work. But in the long run, these costs are far less than replacing entire pieces of failed infrastructure or dealing with a hazard that resulted in injury or death. Another advantage to having more money in the budget for this type of maintenance would also help eliminate the need to continue to attempt to get numerous special assessments passed to repair each large cost repair project around the park. It would also allow us to put more money into our reserve funds for large cost emergencies so that we wouldn't have to wait for an assessment to be passed to generate funds for each emergency repair. Again, thank you for watching this video.